Easter week 1916, bombs and gunfire rip through the city. A rising is in full swing as we take you on a journey back in time down the streets of Dublin. This museum on wheels will tell us about the men and women who were involved in the events throughout the week of the rising. We shall hear various personal accounts from the likes of Padraig Pearse and Blimey O'Connor, who had major roles in the week, told by the actors.
Was under his command here too.
We were lined up outside of Liberty Hall, the sun was shining, it was a beautiful day, we're out on the street. Custom House clock is telling us it's about 20 minutes to 12. A group of about 8 women leave the hall and form up at the end of our company, numbering roughly 28 men.
I can't see how many there are. We leave in detachment, Sean, and about 20 men perhaps.
So we start off across Footbridge, we're moving along Tara Street. Now we're going pretty fast, but even so, Sean, our captain, my brother, starts moving down.
Back on the bus, the actors once again resumed their roles in the various characters they were playing, giving a unique and almost personal account of each individual. The tour stops off at 4 separate locations throughout the city centre, locations including Dublin Castle, the GPO and Richmond Barracks. The impressive switch between personal acting and tour informer keeps the audience alive and intrigued.
What was it put you wondering?
Too many strangers in the house.
Oh, indeed, you look as one who's had your share of trouble.
I have had trouble indeed.
What was it put the trouble on you?
My land that was taken from me.
Was it much land that they took from you?
My
Following the conclusion of the 2-hour tour, we decided to catch up with the 2 actors involved and find out what the tour was about, what the future holds for it, and who are the biggest visitors.
Where are some of the places you would be going on the tour?
Well, we begin at College Green. Our first point of note is Liberty Hall. So we go from Liberty Hall to Dublin Castle, then to the forecourts. Am I right?
GPO, Moore Lane, then the pass, I think, the South Dublin Union and Kilmainham Jail, and then Richmond Barracks is where we end up. So we kind of followed the route of what would have happened, kind of how the troops would have moved during the rising itself.
What are some of the things that you might learn on the tour about the 1916 rising, like significant places and events?
We go through most of like the main things that happened, the gathering at Liberty Hall, going from there to GPO, and we follow. I think what is significant about this tour is that we deal with the stories of the people who aren't talked about quite as much. So we don't take it, we talk about Padraig Pearse, about Tom Clark, but we're focusing on some
the
of
women as well get a huge kind of section on the tour. As well as like it talks about all of the beginnings of the rising and how it began as the kind of grassroots movement, like the funeral of O'Donovan Ross and everything like that. And a little bit about the aftermath of it as well, but there's some great just nuggets, great stories in there that you don't get taught in school, like stuff that happened in Moore Street, for example, and things like that. There's some really interesting, very human kind of moments in it and stuff.
After Easter week?
I would say that it will, yeah, I'd say it will go on for, but we don't know, but I'm sure it'll go on for the rest of the year at least.
No, and as well, given that we're now in the centenary of going up to 22, they were talking about modifying the tour to take in more of that sort of stuff as well, so there'll be a huge amount. It'll be really depressing now when we get to the Civil War, but PGP could run for 6 years or so, yeah.
And finally, people on the bus are more Irish or more tourists or?
At the minute, it's mostly the majority are Irish people.
Yeah,
I think that'll change, you know what I mean? And I think particularly coming up to the summer, it will be more tourists. But yeah, the majority are Irish.
Yeah, who we've spoken to anyway, you know. But yeah, we had a few Italians actually this week. We were thinking for the match or whatever. But anyway, yeah, mostly still to this time. Yeah.
It will be interesting to see what is to come with this bus tour in the next few years. With the centenary anniversary of 1922 up next, and with such a split opinion of 1922 in the public domain, what stance will the bus take? Regardless of the future, this tour of 1916 is a terrific experience.